Welcome back, everyone. And we are having so many amazing coaches today and speakers. And our next guest is Kevin Roth. And we are having so many amazing coaches today and speakers. Kevin Roth, we have a small problem with the life. Kevin Roth is an internationally known musician and life coach. In 2016, Kevin was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma and given 2-3 years to live. He beat the odds without medication and now teaches others how to change their lives and create a life they love. He says, "I thought fame and fortune would make me happy. I could not have been more naive." Kevin offers courses and private sessions to professionals around the world, guiding them to create a life they love. He works with doctors, clergy, and so many other professionals who are seeking success, health, and happiness. And today he's going to walk us through how to achieve happiness and keep it. Welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Well, thanks for having me. Nice to be in Greece somehow virtually.
It's an honor to have you here. And I'm looking forward learning from you. You went through many struggles and you managed to overcome them. And this is always admirable. I am always impressed by how much power lies in people's minds and bodies. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you today.
Okay. Well, thanks. I think the main message that I want to relay out there is that each one of us is born in a beautiful individual way. We are all born with a talent, whether it's musical, whether it's business, whether it's artistic, whether it's a nurturing quality where we want to help other people. No one has been put on this planet by mistake. No matter how good looking or rich you are unique. There's not two of you anywhere unless you start thinking parallel universes, then that's a possibility. And we are born very, very, very young as babies, feeling loved. And then as we get older, what happens is that society trains us to make money, to get into relationships, go to school, and seek out what we think is happiness and security and love. But we forget along the way who we are. So a lot of people are in jobs or doing things that they're probably good at, but they don't love. Many people work till they're very old and then they retire, and then in a couple years they're dead. So my message to people is to do what you love and love what you do. So that's easy to say, but how do you do it? And this is what I teach people. We all have a problem that comes up in life, and for every problem there's a solution. So I want to give you a little bit of the background of my story, and then I'm going to tell you basically about how I learned to guide people into what I call the secret sauce, okay? And I can't see the clock, so just give me a 2 or 3 minute warning because I can talk for a long time. So when I was about 3 or 4 years old, I played the piano by ear, and I always had a spiritual sense that there was something bigger in life. You could call it a god or a substratum. And I was searching for what that was my entire life. I think the nature of most artists are like that. When I was 13, I happened to run into someone who played the mountain dulcimer, and that's what this is. It's a folk instrument, it's very pretty. And in the 70s, this was not well known. Now I'm going to play this for you a little bit because I created something called dulcimer meditation. I'll do that towards the end for you. And when I was 13, I just knew through, I guess what you would call mindful awareness now, that I wanted to have a music career. So I created this story in my head, and all of you can do this as well, and this is what I teach to do. You create a story based on your heart's desire, and you walk into it as if it is already there. So this worked by my learning to play the dulcimer at 13, and then at 15, I got my first record deal. It was pretty unbelievable. And that began the beginning of my recording career. This was an intention and a desire which was very specific. I thought about it. I worked it every single day. I just was, at that time, even though I was 13, I saw myself as Kevin Roth, the performer, the guy who was going to eventually have a TV show and a record deal and be rich and be famous and all of that. And I worked towards that goal and accomplished it. When I was about 33, I was a millionaire and I was fairly well known and I was very unhappy. That's when I discovered that money and fame doesn't buy happiness, nor does it last. So you may think that you're going to make a lot of money and be the top at your game, and that's an illusion because life goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. So I've been broke and I've been rich and I've been everything in between. What I was really searching for and what my clients and everyone watching and listening are searching for is happiness. So you have to say, well, what's going to make you happy? Is it money? No. Is it power? No. So what is it? It's very simple. It's creating the life you love and knowing how to work that life through the ups and the downs so that you never go way down in depression or sadness and you don't go too high up in excitement and stay there too long. And that's the secret sauce. How do you do that? You do that by knowing what you really want, what your heart wants, what you're all about. And there's a discovery process that I go through with my clients to really get down to the nitty-gritty of that. So someone may say, well, I want to be I want to build a lot of houses and make a lot of money. And then I ask them why. And it may turn out that what they really are interested in is building communities and not houses. Or maybe what they really want is they want to build houses that are good for the environment. So we get very specific, and I can tell by the Zoom conferences with my clients when their face lights up. And then I say, aha, okay, so that's what you want. So know what you want, and it's really important to know why you want to do it, because it's the why that keeps you focused. So even if you're having a bad day and everything seems to fall apart, you are so rooted into your heart and you want this so badly. Think of if you have a child or a pet. You would do anything for that child or pet because you just, or a parent or a relative, because you love that. You have to have the same love for your life. And then the third thing is you need to not only have a plan, but to work it. And you cannot go 100% of the time. You'll pass out, you'll collapse. So you need to know about balance. And that's another thing that I teach people is to recognize inside yourself what you need and when you need it, when to push and when to pull back. Okay? So as a great example, today, because of our time zone difference, I got up very early. I was up 3 hours earlier because I thought we were on 3 hours earlier. And there was something happened, I don't know. And I didn't get angry. I didn't get upset, even though I was up at 5 in the morning, which is 4 hours earlier than I wake up. How I handled it was I said, for some reason, this is not supposed to happen at this particular time. If it's going to happen, it'll happen. And I laid around and I was doing certain things, and then your email came through, and here we are. And I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to talk. I'm not angry. I don't know what happened or why it happened, but it doesn't matter because I was really interested, based on my intuition, that I should do this with you. I don't get up at 5 in the morning for everybody, trust me. But in this particular situation, my inner gut told me that I was supposed to talk to the people who are listening. For whatever reason, I don't question it. I learn to trust my gut. So that's how this thing works, right? I could have gone ballistic and said, oh, I screwed up the time, or oh, what's wrong with them? But I didn't. I said, okay, I don't know, but this is not going to make or break my world. So if it's meant to happen, the universe will have it happen. And now you've got me where I'm actually fully awake. So that's really good. So what happens is once you know what you want and you know how to get it, you have a game plan. It's very, very simple. Okay? And what's interesting is that in 2016, I came down with stage 3 melanoma, which is not curable. And they removed 2 little spots that had the cancer in it, but they told me that within a year, there was a 70% chance it would return and I'd be dead. So my life came to a halt. And I had to do a lot of deep investigation and thinking, if I only have a few years left to live, what did I want to do with it? So I became very clear that the things that mattered to me was my art and my dog. And that was it. I didn't need a new record. I didn't need to make money or lose money, because all of that was insignificant, because they said I was going to die even though I didn't believe them, and I was right. So I created this story that Kevin, even though I talked to 3 or 4 oncologists that said, I'm sorry, you're going to die, I created this story for myself that said, I'm not only not going to die, but I'm going to move from the Midwest, which is a kind of a bleak area of the United States, and I'm going to move to California and live a bohemian fun lifestyle. And I'm going to create an entirely new life, getting rid of stress, which causes illness, getting rid of anger, which causes illness, and I'm going to create, like I created my career, a new Kevin. And there's nobody that's going to stop me except death. And there's nobody that's going to tell me how to do it. And I'm not listening to anybody but this. And that's exactly what I did. And the cancer never returned. So when I got to California, and I drove from California in a Jeep with my dog and 16 dulcimers and some clothes. It took 3 days to drive here. Someone said, you ought to really become a life coach. And I didn't know what that was. So I looked into it and I thought, I do have a kind of a unique story, because I really had this experience. I didn't take a course to become a coach. I lived it. And so I found 1 or 2 people that were interested in what I had to teach, and I saw that their lives changed very quickly. So what I teach, if you work with me, I can't say it's instant, but the change in your life, which is the change in your thinking, happens very fast. So this isn't something, I don't coach people so that in 6 months or 2 years you'll get where you're going to go. You're there now because you're already there. There's nowhere to go. You're already there. I bring it out in you. Okay? So that's really what I love to do, and that's what I show people. One of the things I think that the reason that I've been doing this a little over 2.5 years, and a lot of clients have stuck with me that long, I think the secret sauce is that I live what I preach. And I know how to do that. I know how to, if I'm feeling a little down, I know how to get kind of back up. I know what to do to shift the energies around. So this isn't a complicated process. And interestingly enough, years after I kind of discovered this coaching thing, which I personally call creative life design, I began to find books from years and years and years and years ago that taught the same principles that I teach, except I have my own angle on it. So I thought, if I had found these books and learned from these books, wouldn't my life have been easier? And I thought, no, because you needed to go through this experience to learn. So everyone out there who's listening that feels stuck, that feels stressed, that feels they're not in the right relationship, or maybe they're looking for a relationship, they're struggling somehow. That is one thing, and one thing only, and that's your mind. It's your mind, okay? If I ask you, where is your mind? Most people would say, well, in my brain. But if you dissect a brain, you'll never find something called a mind. You can't hold a mind. A mind is consciousness, whatever that means to you. And I have the experience of knowing that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I was given a death sentence. I said, yeah, well, I don't think so. And I changed. None of the oncologists, except the one that I ended up liking, believed that I'm still alive. They scratch their head. They say, well, you're an anomaly. I say, bullshit. I'm not an anomaly. Okay? I didn't fall into I'm going to die trap. Now, there are people who have cancer, who have illnesses, that are going to die. We all die. But if you know inside yourself that there's something bigger than that, you can work with that and even help the process of dying, because every day we get older and we get closer to death. But all of that is in your mind. So the question is, no matter what you want to become, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, if you want to leave your job and create a new job and get financial independence, and how do I do that? I've got a family, I've got a support, I've got all this stuff. It's your mind. So let me give you some really quick examples. Are we okay on time? Okay. So if you want to start a business, you have to be very aware of your finances, right? So if you live in a space that's very expensive, downsize and get yourself in a place where you're still working your job, but on the weekends and in the evenings, with enthusiasm, you're plugging away at your new desire, your new job. If you stay consistent and you stay in balance and you are excited about what you're doing and you can feel, and that's the word, feel, your result, like I'm already doing this. I'm going to be out of this job within a year. You can't lose, but you can't have a lot of expenses and burden yourself while you're building a business. So you cut back. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I don't have a lot of furniture or anything by choice. I love the space. I used to have a 3-4 bedroom house, a fancy car. I had all that stuff. I don't even like it anymore. I like to go hiking. So financially, I run a very tight ship because I don't need a lot. And this is interesting because when you start to do what you love, all the things that you thought you needed and wanted fall off. You don't need to party. You don't need to buy a lot of things. All of those desires are fill-ins for what you really want. Okay? And what you really want is happiness and success. So you want to be sure that financially you're not burdened. And I work with clients to talk about what they can cut out and what they can sometimes bring in. Then you also need to create enough time and energy to take care of yourself. You need to eat well. You need to sleep. Sleep is so important for the immune system. You need to be around positive people. You need to not be around negativity. You need to love. So if you don't have someone that you're in love with, like I'm a single guy, I date myself. I mean, I have the best time, man. I can cook. I've got a dog. I play music. And when you feel whole yourself and happy yourself, you will have people come to you and want to know, what is that secret sauce about you? I really want to be with this person. If you feel needy and I need to be loved and all this kind of stuff, people don't want to be around that necessarily. Or maybe you're in a relationship that could be a little healthier, but whoever you're around and whatever you do, you want it to support who you are in your heart. Okay, so that's the basis of what I do. I work with people. I have I'm actually on my website, kevinroth.org, or you can email me at kevinroth.org@gmail. You'll probably have the link up there somewhere. I have on my website a free stressbuster video. So it takes 3 minutes. This is another thing I teach people. Within 3 minutes, you can get rid of your stress. And I also have a free call to action. If you want to have a free consultation with me for 30 minutes, I can do that. But one of the things, and I'll share this with you real quickly, that I do is dulcimer meditation, and I teach this. Not everybody wants to know it, but I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to actually play you a little thing. I have to kind of get up here and change the screen height. Just a moment.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so much, Kevin.
So this is a little bit of, as long as you're not driving, close your eyes. And imagine yourself living the life you love, being happy, feeling gratitude, knowing that the universe supports you and loves you. Know that you love yourself, and know that everything works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, it's just not the end. So that's a little of what the dulcimer sounds like.
Wow, amazing. I will applaud you, and I am sure that also our audience is listening to it and applauding at the same time. Thank you so much, Kevin. This is very, very powerful. And I love your voice at the same time with the music. It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Yeah. So
I love the
are there
session.
any questions that you want to ask, or anybody?
I would have one question because you mentioned that we don't need a lot in order to be happy. And I know that sometimes, and this is also my experience, I was always chasing something else. And I always thought that if I reach that goal, then I'm going to be happy. And somehow it never happened. I was reaching my goals, but I was never really fulfilled. And the whole topic and the brand is the secrets of designing tomorrow. And do you think that if we are not well today, is there a chance that we can be happy in the future? Or is it rather that in order to build the future, we need to be happy today with what we have? What are your thoughts around it?
You're already happy in this moment. You just need to switch your thinking. And I'll show you a really interesting exercise that proves that everything is the mind. Okay? I want you to imagine having a lemon in your hand. Okay? A lemon that's cut up, in a little piece. Now I want you to squirt that lemon in your mouth. You should begin to salivate, right? You can almost feel that it's happening. But you don't have a lemon. It's not happening. It's in your mind that you're having that experience. So you can easily learn, once you recognize, I'm not happy and will I be happy tomorrow, you can switch your thinking, which is what I teach. And you can immediately go from when will I to I am now, because I'm living in my mind exactly what I want, and it's happening. This is absolutely true because I've done it. Look at, I should be dead, right? The doctor said I should be dead. I changed the way I thought. So when you replace what doesn't work in your life with what does, meaning that you learn how to do this, the thing that I teach, you will never be at a loss. You don't need to stay stuck because it's all your mind. It's all your mind.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kevin, once again for sharing all of this with us. I received a lot of wisdom, and I'm sure that also our audience did. Thank you so much for being today with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.